We all know the names of champions: Jordan, Kobe, LeBron, Curry. But for every player who hosted the Larry O'Brien Trophy, there are legends who walked away without one. This isn't just a good players list. This is a tribute to greatness unfulfilled, diving deep into the careers of the greatest NBA players who never won a championship. Players whose legacy was built on talent, dominance, and heartbreak. When people talk about the greatest player to never win a championship, Charles Barkley's name is usually the first one mentioned. Charles Barkley wasn't just a great player, he was a one-of-a-kind force in nature on the basketball court. Listed as 6'6", but honestly closer to 6'4". Barkley played power forward against giants and outworked, out-hustled, and out-muscled them all. He wasn't built like Karl Malone or David Robinson. He wasn't as tall as Patrick Ewing. He wasn't as graceful as Hakeem. But Charles Barkley was relentless, explosive, and smarter than you think. A rebounder like no other. In his prime, Barkley was one of the most dominant rebounders the NBA had ever seen. At just 6'4", he led the league in rebounds in 1987, something unheard of for someone who was his size in an era packed with 7-footers. He didn't rely on length. He relied on positioning, strength, and sheer willpower. He bullied players. He out-jumped bigger players. He wanted the ball more than you did. An offensive juggernaut. But Barkley wasn't just about rebounds. He could score from anywhere on the floor, post up, fast breaks, mid-range jumper. He didn't have the prettiest play style, but he was ruthless and effective. At his peak, Barkley averaged nearly 28 points and 12 rebounds per game. He was efficient too, shooting over 55% from the field in multiple seasons, and he got to the free throw line with ease. Due to his physicality. His MVP season was in 1992-1993. Barkley had gained this achievement when he was traded to the Phoenix Suns. In his very first year in Phoenix, Barkley led the Suns to 62-20 record. He was playing like the best player in the league. He averaged 25 points, 12 rebounds, and 5 assists. He won NBA MVP, finally stepping out the shadow of Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, and Larry Bird. That year felt like destiny. Barkley looked unstoppable. The Suns looked like a team of destiny, and they made it to the NBA Finals. But then came Michael Jordan. In the finals, Barkley was phenomenal, averaging 27.3 points, 13 rebounds, and 5.5 assists against the greatest player to ever lace them up. Game 4. Barkley dropped a triple-double with 32 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists. He willed Phoenix to a double overtime win. Game 6, he grabbed 17 rebounds and scored 21 points in a closeout game where the Suns were just moments from forcing a Game 7. But Michael Jordan became Michael Jordan. He scored 33 points and John Paxson hit the dagger 3. Barkley walked off the floor knowing that might be his best and last chance. After the Phoenix stint, Barkley chased a ring in Houston, teaming up with Hakeem Olajuwon and Clyde Drexler. Later, even Scottie Pippen joined the team. In reality, it was too late. Barkley was aging, so were Hakeem and Clyde. Injuries, chemistry issues, and father time derailed any real hopes of a title. Houston made the playoffs, but never got close to winning a championship again. Even though he has a legacy without a ring, Charles Barkley retired in 2000, ringless. 11-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA First Team, MVP in 1993, a member of the 50 greatest NBA players in NBA history, and inducted into the Hall of Fame. He wasn't just a player, he became an icon. His personality, honesty, and humor made him a star off the court. TNT analyst is legendary, but Barkley himself says it best. I wasn't a role model, I was a basketball player. Ring or not, Barkley's influence on the game and generation of players is undeniable. Allen Iverson is one of the greatest players to ever step on a basketball court, but he's also one of the greatest players who never got the ending he deserved. Just a 6 feet tall, 165 pounds, he wasn't supposed to survive in the NBA. In a league built full of giants, Iverson rewrote the rules. He played with no fear, swagger, and a heart. He didn't just play through pain, he embraced it. Broken fingers, sprained ankles, bruised ribs, none of it slowed him down. Iverson's game was electric. He had maybe the nastiest crossover the league has ever seen. He could get to the rim at will, pull up from anywhere, and had one of the quickest first steps in NBA history. But his true greatness wasn't just about scoring, it was about his mentality. AI went at bigger players without hesitation. He wasn't afraid of anyone, not Shaq, not Jordan, not Kobe. Off the court, he changed everything. The braids, the tats, the baggy clothes, the hip-hop attitude. Before Iverson, the NBA tried to keep its image squeaky clean. After Iverson, players started embracing who they really are. AI didn't just influence basketball, he influenced culture. But Iverson's legacy still feels bittersweet because of one thing. He never won a ring. 2001 was supposed to be his year. Iverson carried what was considered a mediocre Sixers roster to the NBA Finals almost by himself. The team had some solid defenders like Dikembe Mutombo and Aaron Minky, but let's be honest, they weren't built for a deep playoff run. Somehow, Iverson dragged them there anyway, putting up 32 points a game, winning MVP, and giving us one of the most iconic moments in NBA Finals history. Game 1 against Lakers. Iverson scores 48 points, leads Philly to an upset win in LA, and caps it off by stepping over Tyronn Lue after hitting a cold-blooded jumper. This image is burnt into NBA history. The moment said everything about Iverson: fearlessness, defiant, and relentless. But as good as Iverson was, the Lakers were better. Shaq was at his absolute peak. Kobe was rising. After the first win, the Sixers couldn't keep up. They lost in 5 games. This was the closest Iverson would ever come to a championship. The years followed were frustrating. Philly couldn't build the right team around him. Coaching changes, front office mistakes, and aging rosters caught up with them. Iverson kept putting up numbers, scoring titles, all-star appearances, and highlights every night. But the Sixers kept falling short. Eventually, he was traded to Denver. There was hope. Playing next to Carmelo Anthony could spark something. But again, no deep playoff runs. And then he went to Detroit, then Memphis. Brief, forgettable stops. By the time Iverson returned to Philly for one last run, it was clear his window had closed. But here's the thing about Iverson. He doesn't need a ring to be a legend. His impact goes way beyond jewelry. He inspired an entire generation of players. Guys like Chris Paul, Damian Lillard, Russell Westbrook, and even Steph Curry grew up watching AI, learning that size doesn't define greatness. Heart does. Iverson showed the world that being authentic matters. He played hurt. He played small. He played for his city. He gave everything he had. And while the record books say he never won it all, the fans and the game itself know better. Iverson was one of one. He might have not won any rings, but he was still the answer. James Harden might go down as the most complicated superstar in NBA history, one of the greatest offensive players we've ever seen, but also one of the most criticized when it matters most. When Harden came to the league, he was a sixth man in Oklahoma City, playing behind Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook. But even off the bench, his talent was obvious. Crafty, smart, and deadly with the ball in his hands. Harden helped lead the Thunder to 2012 NBA Finals, where they lost to LeBron's Heat. After that, the Thunder chose to move on from him. The decision changed Harden's career and arguably the NBA. In Houston, Harden became a superstar, not just a scorer, a scoring machine. 3-time scoring champion, 7-time All-NBA First Team, 2018 MVP. He gave the league nightmares with his step-backs, foul drawing, ISO-heavy offense, and ability to manipulate defenses like no one else before him. From 2017 to 2020, Harden nearly averaged 35 points per game over 4 straight seasons. That's historic. And during that run, he didn't just put up empty stats. The Rockets were winning. They were a consistent playoff threat. They built their entire system around Harden's unique offensive genius. But the playoffs, that's where the legacy gets complicated. Harden's Rockets had the Warriors on the ropes in 2018, up 3-2 in the Western Conference Finals, one win away from beating one of the greatest teams ever assembled. Then Chris Paul pulled his hamstring. Game 7, the Rockets missed 27 straight threes. Harden shot poorly, another what-if in NBA history. After that, the cracks started to show. Playoff exits piled up to the Warriors again, and then the Lakers, then the bubble. Harden's numbers stayed big, but the losses stayed bigger. Then came Brooklyn, another super team. Harden, Durant, Kyrie. For a moment, it looked like destiny, but injuries came again. Kyrie went down. Harden himself was hobbling on one leg. In Game 7 against the Bucks, he played through it, but wasn't himself. Kevin Durant's foot was on the line, another exit. Then Philadelphia, pairing with Joel Embiid, brought new hope. But again, the same ending. Harden disappeared in big moments. The Sixers blew leads. They melted down in Game 7s. And once again, James Harden walked off court empty-handed. Now Harden is in Los Angeles on another team trying to chase what felt out of reach, a championship ring. He's still capable of dropping 30 and 10 when he wants to, but time is running out. The criticism about Harden is that he shrinks in big games, cares more about numbers than winning. He forces his way out of every situation. But the truth is, very few players in NBA history have been productive. Being this dominant and this creative on offense for this long, step back three, foul drawing, the handles, the playmaking, he made it look easy, even when everyone hated how he did it. If Harden won a title in 2018 or 2021, we'd talk about him differently. We'd compare him to Steph Curry, put him ahead of Dwayne Wade. No wonder why he never broke through. But rings define legacies, and without one, Harden might always be remembered as the guy who almost did it, but didn't finish the job. These players were all still great, even though they didn't win a championship. Things didn't pan out for them, but their legacies are still Hall of Fame. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like the video.